Today I would like to visit with you an iconic piece of music, Aaron Copland's Fanfare for the Common Man. Copland was responding to a commission. A conductor during the Second World War commissioned 18 fanfares to boost the morale of the population and to support the troops fighting in a war. By the way, out of those 18 fanfares, this one is the only one that not only survived but truly thrived. It became such a statement, and that is true not only for its original form, but there are also multiple derivations. For example, the progressive rock group Emerson, Lake and Palmer released its own version in the late 1970s, and that became very popular for the time being and was used by various TV stations around the world to announce their sport segments in their programs, and I think it was even played at the Olympics. However, it is this one, the original, the classic, that truly stood the test of time, and my prediction is it will only increase in its importance as we go forward. So what is it that makes this fanfare so effective and so powerful? Well, Copland knew that a fanfare needs to be a very direct statement. A fanfare is loud, it's short, there's not very much room for filigree. It says, here we are. So just consider the theme, the main musical theme of the piece as it first appears, played by a trio of trumpets in unison. Very simple, right? Very unadorned. It basically traces the outlines of two chords, a B flat chord and an E flat chord. This is an E flat that is now confirmed, and we're back to the B flat territory, and an E flat major, B flat major, E flat major, and a B flat major in its full splendor. So that's one thing. Keep it very direct. Also, the harmonic language that Copland uses in this piece, it's very straightforward. It's mostly tonal harmonies, chords that everyone is familiar with. However, Copland, being a very fine composer, there are certain sophisticated touches in the music. So one, although most of the fanfare proceeds in 4/4, 4 beats per measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, he inserts a few 3/4 measures, and that creates this feeling of there's a little bit of a guessing game going on. So you hear harmonies that you're familiar with, but they're falling on different beats that you would expect. So that's one subtle way how he makes this a little more interesting. Another one is that although he uses mostly very traditional harmonies, every now and then he, as I call it, dirtifies them. So I'll give you an example of that. For example, this passage. So you have a very traditional F minor, G minor, and then what is this? That is not a traditional chord, and then he goes back to traditional harmonies. So, saying that a piece is approachable does not mean that it's easy to play. There are two particular challenges with this fanfare. The first one is the tempo. Copland asks us to play it at quarter equals 52. Now, that is very slow indeed. It would sound something like this. truth to be told, I've never heard it play this slow. It is basically the conductor would be asking his players to suffocate. So a successful rendering is the one that maintains a very solemn pace, but is not as slow that it would really just, you know, kill these poor people who have to blow so much air and finish the phrases without taking breaths every 3 notes, right? So that's one challenge. The 52 is not a realistic tempo. Everyone plays it just a bit faster, and it depends on, you know, what ensemble you have in front of you. That determines how slow you actually can take the fanfare. The second thing that a second touch, the second problem with this piece is that some of the writing is very high, especially for trumpets and for horns. So let me play a little passage towards the end of the piece. You'll hear trombones and trumpets go like this. And now horns join them with this chord. The first horn has to hit this note out of blue, and then the little phrase repeats. But this time, this is the note that the first horn player has to hit just unprepared. So to explain, a horn can play fairly high if you get there with a stepwise motion. So for example, and then if it continued, it probably can go up all the way here, depends. However, to just hit the note without getting there this way, that's really hard, just to get to this note. And of course, if something happens, it's so audible because it's high up, it's very loud, so a lot of pressure on the brass players to deliver this piece flawlessly. All right, so one more thing about the title. This came from a speech by a then Vice President of the United States, Wallace, who claimed that the 20th century was the century for the common man. Copland liked it so much, he called the fanfare the way he did. And then when the conductor said, very well, we are going to premiere your piece during the tax season, Copland was delighted, and he wrote back and he said, hey, I can't think of a better man, a better way, a better time to celebrate a common man than during the tax season. All right, here's the fanfare for the common man. Let me just kind of walk you through what happens here. We have 4 horns, 3 trumpets, 3 trombones, tuba, timpani, bass drum, and a tam-tam. And the piece starts with these massive clashes of sound in percussion. So here's how it starts. Second time, a little less. And even less third time. It's sort of disappearing in the distance, perhaps. Let vibrate, Copland says. Now the trumpets come with a theme in a unison. And percussion. Horns join the trumpets. C minor chord, and now we proceed in chords. Timpani. Big full chords. Even more. Unexpected harmonic twist. And that's it. At the very end, he pivots from B flat major to a D major harmony and sort of leave the whole piece open. So this is what it is. 3 statements of this theme. Well, second time with horns. Third time full ensemble. And it gets just fuller and fuller. So maybe one final thought. And this is about the musical language that Copland developed. It sounds very Americana. Although this piece has an appeal throughout the world, it has that Americanness in it. What is it? It's not jazz this time. It's not like Gershwin turning to jazz. Copland's idea was to represent the vastness of the United States through these big open harmonies. Just you know how often he uses this all just big open intervals and harmonies, and also it's reflected in melodies as well. Instead of doing it whatever, he likes leaps. You know, so in the theme, it's all fourths and fifths, yeah? All spaced out, and that became such an emblematic trait or characteristic of Americana that, of course, now or from his time onward, you hear it reflected in movies and other music, and we don't even think about it, you know, as to what makes that music American. Well, you can thank Aaron Copland for that. So, Fanfare for the Common Man. See you next time.